In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis and sharing with you 3 solid Bitcoin indicators predicting the Bitcoin price to rise to $75,000 here in June. We'll also be discussing $8.2 billion in Bitcoin and Ether options will expire. Here's how it can impact the overall crypto markets. We'll also be discussing Wall Street brokers will only accept spot ETFs for the top crypto assets, according to the one and only Cathie Wood. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin can skyrocket to unprecedented heights if this happens, according to the Glassnode co-founders. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin on the cusp of entering a parabolic phase of this cycle. I'll be sharing this timeline. We'll also be discussing $1 million Bitcoin price is possible within the next 18 months, according to the Strike CEO, Jack Mallers. I'll be explaining why. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show.
Oh my gosh, it's finally almost here. JV is going to talk to us. Crypto news is near. I can't stand waiting. There is no debating. I waited all day, maybe I need a life, but Bitcoin is all I can think about day and night. Hurry, JV.
If you're new to the YouTube channel, very important to smash those likes and hit that subscribe button. It helps out tremendously with the YouTube algo and helps spread the word, especially if you're over on X. Just hit the repost button. I always make a couple of tweets before I start the live. If you guys can repost it and spread the word, it's greatly appreciated. Today is pod episode number 1656. I'm your host, JV. It's the last day of the month, May 31st, 2024. Looking forward to a strong monthly close. Hopefully we can flip back in the green. We can see Bitcoin in the green or in the red, but barely, less than 1% in the red, trading above 67,700. We have Ether trading back above 3,700, while Solana, XRP, and AVAX are all correcting and in the red. And checking out CoinMarketCap.com, we're sitting at a 2.5 trillion market cap with 77 billion in volume for the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance 52.8%, with the Ether dominance back on the rise at 18% even. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past 24 hours, we got Beam up 8%, Lido DAO up 7%, and Pepe up 5%. Below that, Jasmine, Ondo, and Wormhole. Dun, dun, dun. Which altcoins are you most bullish on for this bull? Holla at your boy. And checking out the crypto bubbles to get a visual perspective of the market. On the day, safe to say, I'd say 60% in the red, 40% in the green. And zooming out on the monthly for a broader perspective, like 90% in the green and pretty respective gainers. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index, we're currently rated a 73 greed, same as yesterday. Last week, 74, and last month, a 54, which is neutral. So there you have it, Crypto La Familia. How do you feel? We'll likely do before the end of the daily close for the monthly close of this May. Holla. But let's kick it with our Bitcoin TA, aka astrology for the broskies. Here we go. Bitcoin surged by over 60% year to date. Not too shabby as of May 2024. Helped by capital inflows towards this newly introduced ETF in the United States and expectations of the interest rate cuts by the Fed. And according to a mix of on-chain fundamental and technical indicators, the benchmark crypto BTC may witness further gains in June, potentially reaching 75. I say that is very conservative. I mean, that would just take us to new price discovery, but we already tapped 73.8 back in mid-March. But from the technical perspective, Bitcoin's ability to reach 75 G's, baby, comes from its prevailing symmetrical triangle pattern characterized by the price of consolidation between two converging trend lines, connecting a series of sequential peaks and troughs. Typically, the symmetrical triangles formation during an uptrend signals bullish continuation, resolving when the price breaks above the upper trend line and rises by as much as the maximum distance between the upper and the lower trend line, as outlined here in the 4-hour chart. And as of May 31st today, the Bitcoin price was nearing the triangle apex, as you can see in the chart, where its two trend lines converge. Bitcoin now eyes a break above the upper trend line, which, per the technical rule mentioned above, could propel the price towards 74 to 75,000 this month of June coming up, depending upon the breakout point. The breakout point could be around 69,000, a level coinciding with Bitcoin's ongoing ascending trendline support. Now, let's discuss Bitcoin ETF buyers' return. Bitcoin reached a new all-time high of around 73,000 early March. This surge coincided with the long-term hodlers selling a significant volume of their holdings, creating a supply overhang that led to a correction and consolidation period. Now, as prices dropped and sellers became exhausted, the market gradually transitioned into a re-accumulation phase. This shift is evident in the Bitcoin ETF flows, which saw a regime of net outflows throughout April. Now, during the market sell-off to a local low of 57.5, ETFs experienced substantial net outflows, averaging negative $148 million daily. Now, this period of outflows marked a form of micro-capitulation, but the trend has since reversed sharply, thank God. And last week, Bitcoin ETFs reported a remarkable net inflow of 242 million per day, and BlackRock achieved 20 billion in volume, as we shared in yesterday's story. This underscores the significant upside impact of ETFs on the market and the relatively diminished influence of the halving. Moving forward, as a result, the Bitcoin price very well positioned to continue into its rally in June. Let's go. Meanwhile, the Ethereum ETF approval possibilities, let's touch upon them. US spot Ether ETFs have a legit possibility of launching by late June, according to analysts following the key filing update by BlackRock. For example, May 29th, BlackRock updated the Form S1 for its iShares Ethereum Trust with the SEC nearly a week after the regulator approved the 19B4 filing. Both approvals are required for the ETF to commence trading, and according to Eric Balchunas, this is a good sign. We'll probably see the rest roll in soon. So there you go, yo. The successful launch of the Ethereum ETFs could set a net positive precedent for the Bitcoin ETFs, potentially boosting investor confidence and increasing demand in the crypto market. This further enables Bitcoin to achieve a symmetrical triangle breakout target of 75,000 here in June. So there you go, crypto bros. Let me know your thoughts on that. I say 75, easy peasy. And in fact, we could hit 85, 90. There is no top, as fiat has no bottom. You guys already know. But anyways, fam, let's move on. Next story of the day. There's a lot of options which are set to expire, 8.2 billion worth. So I wanted to actually break this down for you guys. Headline reads, 8.2 billion in Bitcoin and Ethereum options expire. Here's how it could impact the crypto market. May 31st. That's today. 69,000 Bitcoin options worth almost 5 billion and 920,000 Ether options worth 3.5 billion will expire. The expiry of crypto option contracts is historically linked to the price volatility in the crypto market. And according to the derivative data, the put-call ratio for the expired Bitcoin options is 0.61. This means more calls are expiring than puts. On the other hand, Ether options had a put-call ratio of 0.46. The put-call ratio is a technical indicator that reflects trader market sentiment. A PCR below 0.7 is considered a strong bullish sentiment, while a PCR above 1 is considered a strong bearish sentiment. So the max pain for Bitcoin is at 66 Gs and ETH 3,300. As outlined here, the maximum pain point at which most losses will be made by the leveraged traders for Bitcoin is 66,000, and for Ether, the max pain point 3,300, with Bitcoin currently trading in the 68 range. 2,000 above the pain point, the ETH is trading at 3,700, more than 400 above the pain point. So we're actually quite close. Millions of open interests are in long positions with strike prices at 70,000, 75, 80, and even 100,000. Open interest refers to the total number of outstanding derivative contracts that have not yet been settled. Few traders have placed long positions on Bitcoin with a target price of 100,000, with 886 million in open interest at the strike price. The number of long positions appears significant. The total notional value of all the outstanding Bitcoin option contracts amounts to 19 billion. Meanwhile, the spot Ether ETF approval by the SEC, which we touched upon earlier, saw the ETH price rise 20% in May, anticipation of the approval. And so we'll be keeping you posted on that. So maybe this is why the market is so volatile right now and still in the red with all these options expiring today, May 31st, last day of the month. So there you have it, crypto fam. But anyways, fam, next story of the day, let's get into it. Let's discuss these spot ETFs a little deeper. The headline reads, Wall Street brokers will only accept spot ETFs for the top crypto assets. Well, at least according to Kathy Wood. Make some noise, broskies. We know you guys love Cathie Wood and her special water, if you know what I mean. ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood believes wirehouses will only have interest in ETFs or top digital assets. She was recently interviewed by Peter McCormick at the Consensus 2024 crypto conference and said that the large broker-dealers will likely embrace only a spot Bitcoin ETF and Ethereum ETF. To date, only Bitcoin ETFs have launched, but it now seems possible ETH ETFs could launch later this year. Crypto insiders believe that ETFs for other crypto assets would soon follow after. Quoting her here, I don't think the wirehouses will accept. There could be two. These two, Bitcoin and Ether ETFs, maybe Solana, maybe. But I don't think that the wirehouse platforms will want to do more than the majors, just to give their clients exposure to this new asset class. What I do think is, and we have some of these, the private funds are going to sift through the thousands out there and probably find 20 or 30. But you're going to have to do a tremendous amount of due diligence because, as you say, there's a lot of nonsense going on out there. You can say that again, especially with the Jenner coin. You know what I mean? Wood also said that since the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETFs, ARK is amongst those that launched an ETF for Bitcoin. Wirehouses are doing their due diligence, and the King Crypto, she believes they'll start to offer the product to their clients. What has changed is we are now talking to the major platforms. We call them wirehouses. So Morgan Stanley, UBS, Merrill Lynch, Wells Fargo, and they are deep in due diligence like, okay, what is this? It's mind-boggling to me that they don't even know what this is. I mean, how many more years have to go by before they, get the memo, for Christ's sake? Bitcoin's been around for 15 years. It's kind of hilarious. And while no major platform has yet to put any of the spot Bitcoin ETFs on this platform yet, we think that's a coming. We can tell from the kinds of questions in which they're asking. And to watch the video she did with Peter McCormick, check the show notes below the video in the description. So there you go, crypto fam. What are your thoughts on that? And which particular altcoins, if any, do you think will get the ETF approval after Ethereum? Let me know. Next story of the day, let's discuss some bullishness in the market. The next three stories are all bullishness in the market. So brace yourself, fools. Headline reads, Bitcoin can skyrocket to unprecedented heights if this happens, according to the Glassnode co-founders. That's right. Glassnode co-founders. They say Bitcoin can hit a new all-time high of 75,000 if Bitcoin overcomes the formidable resistance level of 72. Quoting them here. Currently expect Bitcoin to range between 64 and 72, giving altcoins a chance to shine. The 72-74 range is marked by high supply and selling pressure. According to the Glassnode co-founders, if Bitcoin breaks above 72 to 74 level, it could trigger a short squeeze, propelling BTC to unprecedented heights. And on the wider crypto market, the Glassnode co-founder further say that the upcoming inflation data from the US could have a negative impact. Quoting them here, strong income and higher inflation might hint at a Federal Reserve rate hike, risking the crypto sell-off. The Glassnode co-founders also recently said that the value of Bitcoin relative to the price of gold and the Bitcoin to gold ratio could rise approximately 2.24x over the coming months. The Bitcoin gold ratio currently stands at 29. Quoting them here, Bitcoin gold ratio still suggests that we can see Bitcoin at 65x the price of gold at the end of this crypto bull cycle. Now, I don't know if that's a typo. It seems pretty overly bullish considering what I just read. But could you see that? Bitcoin 65x the price of gold at the end of this cycle? Because that would be insane. Well, I guess where's the gold price right now? Are we still at $2,000 an ounce? But he's specifically referring to the Bitcoin to gold ratio, which I'm not so familiar with. So please enlighten me, crypto fam, and let me know if you agree. They also say this would imply more than a double the performance of Bitcoin compared to the shiny metal. And there you go. I'm sure Peter Schiff loves to hear that. And here's the actual tweet they made. Deep dive, breaking barriers in crypto. Bitcoin tested 72 resistance level thrice last week. Wow, I don't think I've ever used that term thrice. I'm going to have to start using it. While there remains a formidable barrier, a confirmed break above could push Bitcoin to a new all-time high of 75 Gs. Currently expect Bitcoin to range between 64 and 72, given the alts chance to shine. The 72-74 range is marked by high supply and selling pressure. However, a sudden breach here could trigger a short squeeze, propelling Bitcoin to unprecedented heights, and it shows you the speedometers which is interesting. This is brought to you by Swiss Block, and it shows you some good analytics, which I haven't ever seen this one either. So more insights for us to drool over for our astrology for the broskies. Next story of the day. We still got a couple of stories to share with you. Let's discuss more bullishness where we left off. Bitcoin on the cusp of entering a parabolic phase this cycle. Here's the timeline. Wiley Followed Analyst says the Bitcoin's on the cusp of entering the parabolic phase in a new session. Rec Capital tells his 500,000 followers that it appears as if the King Crypto is one weekly close away from going parabolic. However, the analyst notes that most likely it won't be weeks it won't be weeks until the top crypto asset by market cap makes large moves to the upside, quoting him here alongside the chart. Bitcoin rejects from the range high of its current reaccumulation range. It is clear the Bitcoin is only one weekly close above the range high, away from entering the parabolic phase of the cycle. But history suggests this historic breakout is still several weeks away. Let me know if you agree. The trader goes on to note that Bitcoin could reach the cycle peak sometime mid-September and mid-October of next year in 2025. Quoting him here. In the 2015-2017 cycle, Bitcoin peaked 518 days after the halving. In the 2019-2021 cycle, Bitcoin peaked 546 days after the halving. If history repeats and the next bull market peak occurs 518 to 546 days after the halving, that would mean Bitcoin could peak in the mid-cycle September or mid-October 2025. Currently, Bitcoin is accelerating in this cycle by approximately 180 days. So the longer Bitcoin consolidates after the halving, the better it'll be for resynchronizing this current cycle with the traditional halving cycle. Now, Rec Capital concludes his analysis by saying the Bitcoin has been consolidating within the 60 to 70,000 price level over the last 2 months, and it has reduced this cycle's acceleration by about 80 days. Quoting him again. In March 2024, Bitcoin reached new all-time highs to confirm an acceleration in the current cycle by 260 days compared to traditional halving cycles. However, Bitcoin has now been consolidating between 60 and 70,000 for over 2 months now. This has reduced the current cycle acceleration from 260 days to 180 days, as he outlines here on X. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the crypto analysts, Rec Capital. Shout out Rec Capital. Let's get it. Now for our feature story of the day. $1 million Bitcoin price is possible within the next 18 months, according to the Strike CEO, Jack Mallers. Let's explain why. Let's break it down, shall we? The CEO of Bitcoin wallet and payments application Strike. And let me know how many of you actually use Strike. I'm curious. Jack Mallers believes that Bitcoin can hit 7 figures by the end of next year in 2025. Wouldn't that be some ish? Let's go. In a brand new interview with Daniela Cambone. I bet you Daniela doesn't interview Max Kaiser no more. Mueller says he thinks the U.S. government will start printing money to pay its record high $34 trillion debt obligations because the money printing will debase the currency. He says investors will start piling into Bitcoin as a safe store of value, sending its price soaring as high as $1 million per coin by the end of November 2025. November. Let's go. He says, I don't think Trump or Biden or RFK is going to get up and say, I'm going to take away your health care. I'm going to inflate everything around you. I'm going to crash everything you know. All your bank deposits are gone. We are going to go through the Great Depression because it's in the best interest of America. That's not what the politicians do. I think politicians are going to say, here's a bunch of free ish. And this is why you should elect me. And then they're going to have to fill the hole of this deficit. Precisely. He also says, I am quoted saying $250,000 to $1 million for a Bitcoin cycle top prediction. That's my range, and the range is wide. But you're asking me to price something in a piece of paper that politicians who don't even know how the system works are actively debasing. So I think it trivially gets to 250,000. I think 1 million is possible within the next 18 months for that particular reason. And to watch the actual interview that Mallers did, the Bitcoin King, check the show notes below the video in the description. And let's discuss a $1 million Bitcoin price, shall we? My personal prediction I've been making on the show for this cycle peak, which I believe will occur most likely next year in 2025, is anywhere between $222,000 per biddy to $750,000 per coin. However, I am still open 100% to the possibility that Bitcoin can theoretically hit $1 million this cycle. And I think Mullers makes a good point because Bitcoin has no top, as fiat has no bottom. Now, my most likely outcome of when I think personally will hit $1 million, I think it'll be the following epoch cycle of Bitcoin at the next cycle peak, which I think may occur in 2029. That's if history continues to rhyme. As with the first three Bitcoin halvings, it was always the year preceding the halving that we hit the cycle peak. So theoretically speaking, let's throw the cycle peak for this cycle at 500,000, which is mid to my 222 to 750, right in the middle. Let's just hypothetically say 500,000 this cycle. Well, the following cycle, I definitely feel Bitcoin will 2x, right? And a 2x from 500,000 is how you get to $1 million. Very simple, right? From 50,000, we're only at 20x away from $1 million. And right now we're close to 70,000. So, and a 20x can occur just 10x 2 times, right? What if that? There's so many ways Bitcoin can flow and hit that price target, especially with the devaluing of the currency, right? We have the BRICS movement. Let's not forget about that. I think many countries and nations are looking to move away from the dollar, as is evident with the BRICS movement. Then we have all the bullish catalysts we can't ignore. We have sovereign wealth fund adoption. We have nation state adoption. Look what Bukele is doing. Other nations may likely follow in their footsteps, just haven't made the announcements yet, probably secretly buying Bitcoin behind the scenes. We have people like Mr. 100 stacking massive amounts of Bitcoin. We have Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy stacking massive amounts of Bitcoin. You got ARK Invest stacking them sats. You got BlackRock, now 20 billion worth of volume in the ETFs. This is the fastest growing ETF in ETF history. They now have over 300,000 Bitcoin. They're now the largest asset manager. They overtook Grayscale. Grayscale before January 11th had 620,000 Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Now they're down to less than 300,000. BlackRock has overtaken them. There's just so much bullishness. And let's not forget, besides the institutional FOMO, which is rampant through the ETFs, we also have retail. The previous cycle, we hit 69,000 purely off of retail. Let's not forget. And I personally feel we could hit 100,000 that cycle if we didn't have the bad actors, such as the Bankman-Frieds, the FTX, the Lunas, and all of that. And what's the term? And compromised three-letter organizations and people whose names rhyme with Wary Wensner, you know what I mean? Which could have been complicit in that fraud because he didn't spot it. How many times did he meet behind closed doors with Bankman-Fried? Well, according to his testimony in Congress, at least, he said, like, I met with him at least twice. That probably means he met with him 30 times. You got to be very, comprehend what they're really saying when they say, well, I met with them on record at least X amount of times. Well, that means just add a couple of dozen times, for Christ's sake. So you just never know. Anything is possible with the biddies because we've never had perfect money and people are waking up. I heard there's 2,500 billionaires on planet Earth. Well, guess what? These billionaires are typically smart people, hence how they get into that position. Yes, granted, some of them are corrupt mofos. We know this. But nonetheless, the smart money, the whales, they understand there's Bitcoin, there's perfect money, nothing else is safe. Bitcoin is the perfect store of value. It's immutable, meaning you can never change it, right? And there's never been perfect money that has ever existed in the history of mankind. There's a finite limited supply. 21 million Bitcoin there can ever be in circulation. 2,500 billionaires. Right? How many millionaires are there on planet Earth? Too many. Not even enough Bitcoin to go around where every millionaire on the planet can say, I'm a whole coiner. Let that sink in. So if you're a whole coiner, you're well ahead of the game. You feel me? But let me know your thoughts. When do you feel the Bitcoin price will likely reach some of these bullish targets like Jack Mallers just discussed, from 250,000 to 1 million per coin? Holla at your boy. I'm going to read as many of your comments out loud as I can. Welcome to the Q&A segment of the live stream. If you're watching this live, as I'm assuming you are, if you're in the chat, I appreciate it. Thanks for the support. And if you're watching the stream on X, if you can hit the repost, greatly appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up. It's free to do so. It shows your support. It only helps out with the algo. And if you want to subscribe to the channel because you appreciate or like the content I'm producing, on a daily basis, make sure to subscribe. I'll give you an on-screen shout out. I appreciate the support. Barry Gingstler. Yeah, I don't want to throw names out there just in case I accidentally get terminated again. So we got to be careful what we say. You know what I mean? Gary loves Larry. Exactly. Larry Fink, the Finkster. The Finkster. Trump's guilty verdict is proof of political warfare. It was staged to slander his reputation. Shout out to Dankness. Let's pump it up. I mean, trump it up.
Don't you know?
Trump it up. We got to trump it up. Don't you know? Trump it up.